Hello and welcome to 10 Minute Tabletop. I'm Devin, and here are the 3 biggest stories from tabletop gaming from the past week in 10 minutes or less so you can get back to playing the game. We have lots of news coming out of Wizards of the Coast this week in Hasbro. First off, we're going to talk about Hasbro's CEO, Chris Cox, who in an investor call this past week talked about the future of D&D and how that's going to lie in digital. Wizards of the Coast is going to continue to move into the digital space, and not just with their new VTT that they're planning to release in 2024. Dungeons & Dragons and Wizards of the Coast believe that the future of D&D lies within gaming, and of course the past week of success from the release of Baldur's Gate 3 has definitely shown that to be the case. Wizards of the Coast plans to be releasing more into the video game market with AAA games, mobile games, etc. Now, of course, this is a great move, but the most interesting thing for me that came out of that call is Chris Cox talked about the total addressable market of tabletop role-playing games in that call, estimating it being around 80 million people. The quote was him talking about how they want to take the 80 million TAM that they have currently in the tabletop role-playing game hobby and expand that into the 800 million TAM of video games. We all know video games are massive and the industry is huge. In fact, it's bigger than movies, television, and music combined. In fact, it looks like Hasbro made more money off the licensing deal with Baldur's Gate 3 than any of their movie properties that they have licensed. That's more than Transformers. That's huge. So what this means is we're going to see more video games coming from Wizards of the Coast. Of course, we know that Hidden Path Entertainment is also working on a AAA game for Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons & Dragons. I'm really excited to see what comes out from that. The future of D&D, as far as Wizards of the Coast is concerned, is digital. This past week, we also saw Critical Role's Tal'Dorei Reborn show up on D&D Beyond. This is massive because this is the first time since D&D Beyond's sale to Wizards of the Coast that we've seen third-party content on D&D Beyond. Before, there was some League of Legends content when Fandom owned it, but now we are seeing the first step in opening up D&D Beyond to third-party content. Now, the book contains the setting guide plus player content like subclasses and is published in physical form through Darrington Press. While it might be easy to see why Wizards of the Coast would make a deal with Critical Role, it's still very interesting development after the more exclusive take on third-party content seen earlier this year. I do think that this is the first step in seeing D&D Beyond begin to support third-party content. We do know that D&D Beyond and Wizards of the Coast has hoped to kind of build a marketplace for third-party content, kind of like exactly what they did for creators in the DMs Guild, but this would be for player in the Game Master side, a place to house and use all that content with their digital tools. Wizards of the Coast hopes to continue to grow that user base for D&D Beyond, and providing a marketplace for third-party creators is the likely next step. And our last story, the current D&D team does say that they want to revisit Spelljammer and Eberron. There's been a lot of criticism around Wizards of the Coast and how they've been releasing new settings for D&D. Specifically, Spelljammer was incredibly light and people felt that it just wasn't a holistic approach to presenting the new setting. A lot of folks were hoping that Spelljammer would have more content similar to the Eberron release. But a recent talk with Jeremy Crawford in comicbook.com, Jeremy Crawford said with the multiverse kind of expanding inside D&D, they feel that this is a prime opportunity to revisit those settings. With Jeremy Crawford specifically being quoted that they look forward to returning to them. And they want to stagger such releases so that players have time to actually use the books in their collection. And lastly, it looks like we're going to have another huge surge of interest in D&D with Baldur's Gate 3 and its massive success. With IGN giving it a 10 out of 10, it looks like it could be a fantastic contender for Game of the Year. Baldur's Gate 3, thousands of hours of play. There is so much content coming out, so many moments of surprise and delight that people are experiencing. There has been a huge uptick in search terms about how to get into D&D after this game's release, doing exactly what Netflix did for Dungeons & Dragons with Stranger Things. We're seeing that happen again with Baldur's Gate 3. And that is a perfect time to talk about this week's sponsor, StartPlaying.Games. StartPlaying.Games is a platform to help you find games, groups, and game masters. StartPlaying is a fantastic resource if you're looking to get into D&D or just find your weekly campaign. StartPlaying allows you to look through games that fit your schedule. You can even read reviews of the different game masters on the site so you can make sure you find one that fits your playstyle. And if you want, go ahead and sign up with the link below in the description. That link will give you $10 in credit for your first game on Start Playing. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to support the show, head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/totalpartychill. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week.